Perfect. So we are now recording. So welcome and good afternoon. This is the college transfer virtual visit. So we are very appreciative of you all joining us today. A lot of cool information. We're going to have some demonstrations for you. Hopefully throughout this session, you'll have your questions answered, maybe even have some questions that you didn't know coming in. So we hope to give you a lot of good information and for you to be able to virtually see a bunch of people at RCC who are here to help. So if you have additional questions. So just to give you an overview of where we are heading in this hour, we are going to do a quick little welcome and then dive on into some program information. So we're going to learn about partnerships with universities. We're going to learn about associate in arts, associate in science, and the teacher prep programs. And then we're going to see some cool science demonstrations in the science lab. So at the very end, I'll give you a little bit of admissions information. And then of course, we want you to fill out the form at the end indicating your t-shirt size so that we can get you your free t-shirt for attending today. So glad to have everybody. I mentioned this was being recorded for future use. And then there's also a closed captioning or a transcript. You can do live transcript on Zoom. So if you want that feature, you should be able to turn it on using your toolbar or turn it off if you need to. All right. So at any point, so people are muted just so we can minimize some of that background noise. If you have a question, please feel free to ask it either out loud or you're welcome to use the chat box if that's easier for you. Either way, we'll be monitoring chat. Ask away out loud. This session is for you. So definitely feel like you can chime in and ask a question when it's relevant. We're going to have different presenters. So it'd be good to ask the question when we're talking about what you have a question about. All right, before we do some introductions with who we have in our session, Maggie Murray is our Director of Student Life and Athletics, and she wanted just to share a real brief welcome with you all. So we're going to hear a quick minute from Maggie. So I'll share that, and you should be able to hear my audio. Please let me know immediately if that doesn't come through. All right. Come on, Zoom. There we go.
What's happening, everybody? Are y'all so excited about your day today with the RCC? You should be. Let me just tell you that RCC is awesome, best community college in the land, and I got another thing to say. You're gonna learn a...
Oop, sorry, I was trying to respond to a chat box message. Can you guys hear it now? Are you able to hear it? There was a message in the chat box that someone couldn't. So let me jump ahead. We'll try it again. Okay, good. I got a thumbs up. So we'll jump ahead here for Maggie.
RCC is awesome, best community college in the land. You should be. Let me just tell you that RCC is awesome, best community college in the land, and I got another thing to say. You're going to learn a ton about different programs today, or the program that you're interested in, but college is not all about being in the classroom. It's also being about around campus, meeting different people, getting involved in clubs or sports. So at RCC, we have a lot going on campus. So go to class, and then we got awesome places for you to hang out. We also have some awesome programs for you to be a part of and 11 clubs for you to be a part of. So get excited about your program today, yes, but also you get excited about just being an Eagle and being a part of RCC's campus. So enjoy your time today. My name is Maggie Murray. I'm the Director of Student Life and Athletics, and we can't wait to have you on campus.
Great. Awesome. So that was just a short message from our affectionately referred to Director of Fun. Maggie is awesome. So she'll be sharing a lot of information throughout your time at RCC about the cool opportunities that students have to get involved. Perfect. So we have a lot of folks on our session today. I'm not going to go through and introduce everybody individually. Everybody's going to be speaking today and have some role, but myself, I'm Laura Jennings. I'm the Assistant Director of Enrollment Services at RCC. So I work in the admissions office and we help students on the front end. Derek Satterfield, I see, is logged in one of the science lab. So Derek's the director of enrollment. We're going to hear from Mr. Bowman, Ms. Tatum, Ms. Jansen, Ms. Gray, Ms. Kearney, Mr. Phipps, Mr. Burnett, and Ms. Rumley Smith today. So we're going to have an action-packed hour. They've got a lot of great information to share. So we'll let them introduce themselves as we go through and get to their different sections. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bowman, who is one of our awesome faculty. He teaches sociology and anthropology classes, and he's here to share with you about university partnerships. Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing well. As Laura said, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about university partnerships or places that you may consider going after your time at RCC. And as the slide here shows, we partner with UNCG with what's called the Spartan Passage, and this has several benefits to it. If you know you're planning to go to UNCG eventually, then you definitely want to take advantage of this opportunity in that. And as Maggie spoke about, college is more than just the classes you're taking, so they give you access to many of the things that you would have if you were on campus at UNCG. It's not too far down there, and you may, depending upon where you live, in terms of, say, their Kaplan Center for Wellness, so some of their athletic facilities and those sorts of things are available to you if you're in this program before you actually transfer there. And also another advantage is the specialized advising that you will be set up with in this program on that, which is true of many of the partnerships. Let's move on to the next slide. And another partnership is with East Carolina, known as the Pirate Promise. I'll admit to be a little bit biased here. I graduated from East Carolina for my master's degree in anthropology many years ago, we'll say. But nonetheless, this is another one that has, again, if you are planning to eventually transfer there, getting started in this program is much to your benefit. Again, specialized advising. Notice some of opportunities there in terms of a application fee waived and those sorts of things are a definite bonus. Notice too, if you're into college sports, you get some access there that you would as a student as well. And I'll say with the specialized advising too, I know that anthropology department at East Carolina is one that is growing and has some summer programs around the world. So there's a guy that takes students to Bali in the South Pacific, to study monkeys over the summer. So again, some things that you'll get the access there to know some specific programs. Another one in terms of archaeology. So again, maybe you're not going to major in it, but a summer program that you get some knowledge of the availability there. So let's move on to our next partnership. I promised I wouldn't talk too much about anthropology, so I'll keep that promise to our dean. Another close by in Greensboro is the Aggie Plus program with NCA&T, and it again waived application fee. Again, some priority reviewing of your application when you transfer. And again, specialized advising. So as we said, or as I said, definitely if you're planning on or strongly considering NCA&T, then definitely a program you will want to get some information on. And there's another in the next slide here, specifically, or I think we skipped over back one, please. Thank you. On that, the Aggie Commitment Trailblazer Scholars known as ACTS. And with this, specifically, if you're interested in STEM fields, so science and technology and engineering and math, if you're a underrepresented population and considering going into those particular fields, definitely something, because you can see here, big advantage, full tuition and fees, scholarship for associate and science graduates with that 3.0 GPA. So again, that would be something to definitely look, and you can see the benefits. Again, you're not starting there, but getting those benefits by being part of the program. And then our last slide looks at a few upcoming ones that are not official necessarily, but will be in the future, with Western Governors University in North Carolina, Lees-McRae, which is a private college in the state, as well as UNC Wilmington. So if you're thinking about college at the beach, then, and for many other academic reasons. But again, those are all upcoming agreements that the college is working on currently.
Thank you for sharing. That is really cool information for students to see how you can get started at RCC, but still have a partnership and kind of connection with the school in which you're planning to transfer. Very neat. And I loved what you said about athletics for people, especially with ECU. If you're interested, that's really cool. Are there any questions for Mr. Bowman? Got the chat box open. We can always circle back, but thank you so much for sharing that. That's great. We appreciate it. Fabulous. So I'm going to stop sharing here. Good deal. And we're going to turn it over to Miss Tatum. She's going to share some information about the Associate in Arts program, the AA. Perfect. Hi, Miss Tatum. You guys having trouble hearing? Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
I'm always like, what did I do?
Perfect.
Okay. Well, I'm here to talk about the Associate in Arts, and basically, in a nutshell, the Associate in Arts program allows students to explore the liberal arts. And to kind of give you an idea, if you were to start out at a four-year university, this is kind of the equivalent of your freshman and sophomore years. So you would be taking classes like English, math, science, history, but be able to also have a little freedom to explore courses in the humanities and the social behavioral sciences like psychology, sociology, anthropology. I'll throw that in there for Mr. Bowman. And my personal favorite, foreign language, Espanol. So the great thing about the Associate in Arts is it allows you, especially if you're not really sure what you want to major in, but you kind of, want to get a feel for what sparks your interest. Perhaps it might be music, or it might be journalism or the fine arts, with maybe ceramics. You have the ability to take courses in any of those fields with the Associate in Arts, as well as meet your requirements for English and math and science, and typically what most freshman students going into the university would be taking. So that's I think one of the unique factors about Associate in Arts is you have a little more freedom to explore. And it's a 60 credit hour degree, where the first 30 basically would meet, the standard requirements, but it gives you flexibility to take courses. For example, let's say you were taking Spanish and you wanted to say, I really am enjoying it, because I know you would. I had to get that in too. I promised the dean I would do that. But one of the requirements, for example, if you wanted to continue and go on to say UNC Greensboro or UNCW or even ECU, any state school within North Carolina requires foreign language requirements for graduation, usually for most degrees. So you could actually be earning your associate degree and, completing those requirements for your future bachelor's degree as well, and be able to do it locally here at RCC. So that's kind of the highlight. I'll throw that out there at you, but it's an exciting place to be. I'm fairly new to RCC, but I can attest that it's a great school. We have experienced faculty who really enjoy spending time in the classroom with our students, as well as virtually online. That's one of the factors also that we offer. The Associate in Arts degree is available completely online. So if you're working and you're trying to be able to balance your work life with your education, you are able to do so. Um, I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing any highlights here, but in essence, what I love about the Associate in Arts is, for me, especially, and I think this will allude to Miss Kearney. She's going to talk about the teacher ed program. If you're going into human services like social services, human resources, business administration, if those areas interest you, then the Associate in Arts is for you. And so I'll just kind of finish there and field any questions you might. I was going to say field any preguntas you might have, but go ahead. If you have some questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
Awesome. And sometimes it takes folks just a minute to type it out. So maybe we'll tag in Miss Jansen to talk about Associate in Science, and there might be some questions for both of y'all for the different programs.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Hi.
Everybody. Hey, I'm a little late. I just got out of class. My name is Nadine Jansen, and I am a mathematics faculty member here at RCC. This is my 4th year teaching here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Associate in Science program. So the Associate in Science program is going to be good for you if you're interested in transferring to a 4-year university to major in anything STEM related. So think biology, chemistry, math, engineering, any type of engineering, civil, mechanical, electrical. If you want to major in technology or some of the physical sciences. I've had students that have transferred and majored in like sports science. I know that's a really popular major. So anything that's in that STEM field, the Associate of Science is going to be a good fit for you. And as I said, I came a little late, so I'm not all sure what Miss Tatum said, but we have transfer guides that the university provides to us that help RCC faculty and advisors advise you and guide you as to what classes you should take while you're here with us at RCC, so that when you transfer to that university, you'll be going in as a junior. You would have already completed 2 years of your bachelor's, so you'd only have 2 years left at that university. And just speaking from my own experience, I got my master's at NC State. And while I was at NC State, I worked as a TA. So I was a graduate student and I was teaching a class there on campus. And there were literally 200 students in my class. I had so many students that I wasn't even responsible for grading their test. I'd never graded any of their tests. I had other graduate students that graded their tests. And honestly, out of the 200, I probably knew about 7 of them. The 7 that would come to my office and come talk to me. So that's another really good advantage of getting your associates here at RCC is you're going to have small class sizes. Here at RCC, I've never had more than 25, 26 students in a class. I know all of them. I speak to each one of them individually every day in class. So here you're going to get that high touch. You're going to have a really good relationship with your professors. You're going to get to know them. Our doors are open. You can come and see us. It's more of a community feel, especially, which is important those first years of college as you're getting adjusted to that transition from high school to college and becoming more independent and taking more accountability for your education. So that's another really good advantage of getting your associates here at RCC. And that's my spiel. Any questions?
I don't see any just yet in the chat box, but I loved what you said about the small class size.
Yes.
I have a question, ma'am.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So I want to come to RCC for the Associate in Science transfer. I'm a student about to graduate from Moorhead High School, and So while I'm doing the associate in science classes, would they all be strictly science or no?
No, no, they're not all strictly science. Off the top of my head, I want to say that you need one science sequence in the associate science program to do that. So for instance, that's like taking biology 1 and biology 2, or chemistry 1 and chemistry 2. But you're taking math classes, you're still taking English, you're still taking electives, you're still taking humanities classes, you're still taking social science classes. So it's not that it's all science and math classes, but the majority of your hours are going to come from, or a good chunk of your hours are going to come from science and math. But you're still taking some general education classes as well.
Thank you. And
You're
another
welcome.
question.
Mhm.
So will I have to go there for 2 years or not? Because the college I want to transfer to, they said I would only need 1 year of 12 credits to transfer to their college.
I don't know exactly where you want to transfer to or what you want to major in. What I do know is that to earn your associates here, it is a 2-year program. You might be able to do it in a little bit faster if you're taking summer classes or things like that, but it's marked out, scheduled out to be a 2-year program. I also know that and I think, I don't know if Mr. Bowman has said anything about this yet. Have you all talked about the CAA, the
Um,
articulation agreement?
I think I don't remember.
Yeah, not by name. Like I don't, we've,
Well, I do know that if you finish your associate degree here at RCC and you transfer to a state university or even some private universities, that they're not going to pick and choose like, oh, okay, we'll take your biology, but we won't take this math class because ours is a little bit different, or we'll take your English classes, but we don't like the syllabus for your, I was gonna say Spanish, but I don't want to. It just came to my mind. I'm sorry, Miss Tatum. We don't like the syllabus for
I forgive you.
your Spanish class. Thank you. They won't pick apart your degree if you graduate with your associate. They'll take all of those credits and they'll take all of those courses and they'll apply it towards your 4-year degree wherever you transfer to.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that. So certainly there are some instances where students might transfer before the degree, and looking at the specifics towards the exact college that you're going to transfer to would indicate that. But as just said, there certainly are many advantages to transferring with the degree rather than just transferring a certain number of courses.
I'm going to piggyback off of Mr.
Thank you.
Bowman there. With certain universities too, we do have specific articulation agreements like UNCG. I know UNCW like in the future. And basically what that means with what Ms. Jansen was talking about was if you graduate with a C average or better with your associate degree, then you automatically get accepted as a student in, say at UNCG, and you start out with your major coursework as a junior. So that's not true necessarily for every university and college, but for most of the 16 state universities, that is the case.
thanks.
Thank
And
you.
there's, oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say there's a question in the chat box about the difference between the two. Could you all highlight like the main difference between the associate in arts and associate in science? Like how?
The associate in science class, the associate in science degree is more science and more math. I think you only can take one math class to get an associate in arts degree, and you certainly need more than one to get an associate in science degree. You also need more science classes to get an associate in science degree. Brianna, do you know what you might consider majoring in after you were to transfer? Psychology?
most likely that would probably be associate in arts.
I would agree.
Yeah, since
But what's
psychology is a
nice,
social science.
yeah, what's nice about that though, Brianna, is you could, start out with the associate in arts and get that degree, but still take the same required courses for the associate in science as your electives. If you wanted to, like what Ms. Jansen was talking about, take more math and science courses for your elective courses. So you're kind of covering both degrees, if you will, but your official title would be associate in arts.
Yeah, it's a 2-year degree. It'll absolutely help you.
It'll cut the time that you'll be at your 4-year university that you would transfer to. It'll cut that time in half. And it'll also save you a considerable amount of money. I mean, I'll tell you, when I went to undergrad, and I went in-state, it was about $5,000-$6,000 a semester while I was at undergrad. And it is a fraction of that here at RCC. And even if you're not paying out of pocket, even if you're getting financial aid, that's still money that's coming back to you that you can save and use on textbooks, and even save for when you do transfer if you have to pay your tuition after that.
These are some great questions. What if we talk a little bit about the teacher prep too? So that way we can kind of have all three of them in one frame.
Okay.
Fabulous.
I am Deirdre Kearney, and I teach history at RCC. Been here it's my 4th year. I teach the world history and the United States history surveys, both of which would be electives for the associate in arts and the associate in science. But we have a new program in teacher prep that I wanted everybody to know about. And there's two, again, it's split, just like the associate in arts and associate in science, be teacher prep for in the humanities area or arts area, or in the STEM fields. And so it too is a 4-year, it's a 2-year degree leading into a 4-year degree designed to transfer. So what would make this teacher prep degree a little different is that you would take education classes in addition to your science, math, and all of your electives. Communication, psychology, sociology, Spanish, English, all of those guys together. So you would need, but these are 4 new education classes. And if you go to any of the state universities, you will already have a couple of steps toward being a teacher. And one of those classes is preparation for licensure. So how do you get the license? What tests do you have to take? And all of those kinds of things that help you become a teacher. And even if you decide after doing the teacher prep in either art or science, and you decide you want to go into business or something, those classes could help you do training videos for your business or something like that, or help you teach your own kid. But they would also be then elective credits. So it would never, even if you don't become a teacher, those 4 teacher credits would not be, but not be wasted. And then the 5th special class that you'd have to take for the associates in teacher preparation in art or science would be a social diversity class. So Mr. Bowman is gone now, but he will be teaching that really cool class about how to serve all the people who are in your classroom and to address everybody's learning needs. So we have there's a number of places you can go, a number of levels you can teach on. You can teach at the elementary, middle, high school level, and get licensure for each of those areas, or any of those areas, I guess I should say. And then the other one is special ed. which is one of my faves. I've taught in a school for students with learning disabilities and attention issues, and they're some of the smartest, most fun people I've ever worked with. And so special ed is giant, and there's so many different ways to reach people, and the research is really cool. So if you're at all interested in teaching, I definitely recommend starting with a 2-year degree. And then you'll kind of find out whether, how is education? It's a good pandemic proof, depression proof career. We always need teachers. Anybody have any questions for me?
Yes,
I'll fly
ma'am.
Rocky, my eagle, across the screen for you. I've got my African fertility deity, if you need that to help you decide which level of education you need.
So
Yes, sir.
you're teaching like the social studies classes?
Yeah, we actually call them history, but it's the same idea.
Are they like more advanced?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the thing about college level history and English classes is you really learn to write.
Mhm.
We don't do too many multiple choice things, but you do learn how to write a 5-page paper. And by learning that, you learn how to research too. So one of the things I try to do in my history classes is show people what you can do with a history degree other than go to law school or teach. They think about how many movies people make about history subjects, or how many museums people go to in the summer when there's no pandemic.
So it wouldn't just be American history, right?
Yeah, there are two. We do world and American history at RCC, and they're called survey courses. They kind of ride along the top and introduce you to all the topics. So when you get to the university level, you could then take your 400 level class in the Progressive Era, or the Civil War, or the American Revolution. All those become separate classes. But we try to address all of them in this intro courses.
All right, so American and world history would both be separate classes.
Yes, sir. Actually, 4 classes. So first half of US history to Reconstruction, and then the second half, and then world history starting with the dawn of time and ending around the time of the Renaissance, or
All right,
world exploration.
thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Ms. Kearney, that's so cool. I appreciate you sharing, and I'm impressed with the questions that we've gotten. You guys have been really thoughtful out there. So
Great. I hope to see all of you come to RCC.
yes,
Start
awesome.
local, go far.
Love it.
Is Miss
Thank you
Hanson
for.
still in the chat?
I'm sorry.
Is Miss Hanson still in the chat?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so UNC Pembroke is the school I'm trying to transfer to after I go to RCC. And they said I would need 24 credits to transfer there in a 2.0 GPA. So
Okay.
would the associate in science be 2 years or 1 year? Back
Well-
to the same question.
I'm sorry, what was that last piece?
Back to that same question that I asked earlier about the credits.
So this kind of ties into what Mr. Bowman was mentioning earlier. It sounds like UNC Pembroke is suggesting that you get X number of credits and not necessarily finish your associate degree. Just take these certain classes and then transfer. That sounds like what you're saying, because the associate in science degree is about 60 credits. So there are students that transfer before they graduate with their associate's degree. And if that's something that you want to do, you absolutely could do it. But there also are benefits of getting your associate degree and then transferring. You could do 24 credits in about a year. You could about 12 credits, 2 full-time semesters that will give you 24 credits. But to finish the whole associate in science degree would be about 2 years.
You might want to keep in mind that semesters on the university level basically suggest 15 hours to get out in 4 years. So that's the way we set up your schedule here too, is 5 classes, 3 credit hours per class. And that gives you 15 each semester, 30 per year, 60 for the 2-year degree. If that helps you think about the hours and credits.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. And all students, I know you all have mentioned it, but you'll work with an advisor, so they'll help you be strategic. So depending on your program, they'll kind of figure things out with you. But I see Derek chiming in, so it looks like our science folks are ready to rock and roll. So let's turn it over to Derek.
Bye,
Down in Science
everybody.
Lab.
Bye.
guys
Look
for
forward to
sharing.
seeing you.
Awesome. Appreciate it. All right. Derek, are you there? Perfect. Okay, here's Noah.
These are plates of your saliva from last week. So we're looking for growth of Streptococcus salivarius, Streptococcus sanguinus, and Streptococcus mutans. And all of these plates were put on our Virus-U-Star anaerobic journal last week because oral Streptococcus, those 3 species grow particularly well in a carbon dioxide rich environment. So we remove the oxygen in the anaerobic chamber, and hopefully y'all can see a lot of growth in there. So last week we talked about all 3 of these, the Streptococcus salivarius. Do you remember what it colonizes? Choice A, the teeth. Choice B, the tongue. Yes, salivarius colonizes the tongue. So sanguinus and mutants pollinate your teeth, right? Okay, so if you look at your plates, you should see 2 types of colonies, or maybe just one. You're looking for gumdrop colonies, and you're looking for colonies that glisten. So take a real good look at those, and we can determine what type of streptococcus you have on yours. That's a really good one. Shamar, you got a nice one there. So on Shamoris here, we've got some hemolysis, but we have a lot of glistening colonies. So these are the streptococci that grow on our teeth. These would be Streptococcus mutans. And you've got one gumdrop colony right there, a little tiny white colony there, and one here, that's Streptococcus salivarius. And that's what we commonly find on our tongue. So look and see if you have glistening, shiny colonies, kind of glittery like. And if you do, then those colonies are most likely the Streptococcus mutans, and they ferment the glucose. And Streptococcus mutans is the bacteria that is responsible for a lot of the acid production that wears away our enamel and causes cavities, right? So take a look at your plates. Open them on up. Those look great. Yep. You've got all Streptococcus mutans and sanguinus. Those look good. And you see all the areas that are clear in the back?
Mhm.
They actually hemolyzed or broke down the blood that's in the agar, because that's sheep's blood agar that y'all were working with. Yeah, so that's why you get that coloration there. Get a lot of cool colonies. So as y'all take a look at those, record them in your results. We don't have any BSL-2. We know that we have BSL-2 Streptococcus in our mouth. So Streptococcus pneumonia, that causes causative agent of pneumonia, can be found in the mouth, but we're looking at the non-pathogenic, the resident microbes, right? The Streptococcus pneumonia is transient, so it's not going to be hopefully in anybody's mouth in a large population, right?
I'm Mr. Fitz. I'm one of the chemistry faculty here. If you take chemistry, it'll be me and another guy. But all our chemistry classes come with a lab. The lab will be part of it. I'm now in the chemistry lab. I'm showing you right now. We have safety features in here. As you see, I'm wearing a lab coat, gloves for safety features. So that's one thing, working with the chemicals. We wear eye protection hoods. And we work in these fume hoods. So each, there's come around here and you'll see that we have several of these, they're hoods, they're working areas. You can do a setup, close it down and do your chemical reaction. It's just one of our safety features. Now today I pulled stuff out, so I was going to do a demonstration. And it's just easier for us to see, especially on the Zoom. We're not in the safety. One of our ideas in chemistry, I was going to take I'm going to call it an unknown. I'm checking it. And this is just vinegar from Harris Teeter, and it says 5% acidity. I'm just going to see if they're correct. And since that's an acid, I've got loaded in here a base, and I know the concentration of that base. And from that, I can do a process called titration and check their 5%. To do that, I would take a known amount of vinegar. And this one, that's part of the chemistry, right? You get a lot of tools to use. This one's a calibrated pipette. This is going to help me take the 5 milliliters, I mean 5.00 milliliters of this acid. This vinegar, that's our acid. If you know, and if we're all in person, I have to say, what's the pH of an acid? It's lower than 7. In water, it's neutral. In the lab, we have distilled deionized water. It's a special water that I got. So I'm just going to add a bit in here. It really doesn't matter because the water is completely neutral. And to mix that up, I'll just add the stir bar. I have a stir motor here. Well, how I can check the pH of this ever changing? So I'm going to put in an indicator. This indicator will turn pink when the pH, when it becomes neutral, when our pH reaches 7. I know in the exact amount of base I have in here, I can run this down and then record the final, and I'll know how much I added to that 5 milliliters to make it neutral. At first, I see almost no color change. It doesn't even look like it's working. As I get closer and closer, you'll see the pink starting to appear. I'm waiting for that pink to persist. I have it on automatic stir. A lot of people, you could turn that off even to watch that pink. But every time I swish it, I could swish that away as it mixes and diffuses throughout that solution, this base. As I get closer and closer, I got to add slower and slower. So I'm just waiting for that color to persist. And I'm going to go slower. The color's lasting a little longer on us. Watching how much base I got left remaining. Okay, as light pink as I can. The rule of thumb is to persist for 30 seconds. Now I'm down to just drops. Huh? It's a bit of patience. And the white lab coat, we can hold it up and see if the pink, well, it's disappeared on us again, huh? It didn't quite persist. I bet you that holds, and that would be a good titration amount. So taking the known amount of base that I had, and I know the concentration, I can determine whether this was exactly at the 5%. Okay.
Very cool. Thank you, Mr. Phipps. That's what it's like to be in one of our science classes. So you got to see the microbiology students doing some experiments with their plates. And then we got to see Mr. Phipps's, excuse me, his chemistry. He was doing a titration. That was pretty neat. So he was able to calculate, or if he went back, he could figure out the, to see if the concentration of the vinegar was what it said on the bottle. Excellent. So I see, here we are. Here's Mr. Burnett. Hi.
Hi, welcome. I'm Mr. Burnett as they. Right now we're in one of our general biology labs. Today we're looking at flowering plants. So we're looking at flowering plants, monocots and dicots. But we also study animals in the general biology lab as well. We actually just finished up talking about, we spend most of the semester on animals. In this lab, we have lots of specimens that we take a look at, which if you all pan around the room, you can see those. We also do a lot of dissections as well. So we spend a lot of time on dissections of mostly the animals, but we also look at plants as well. We have a lot of specimens, microscope slides that we look at as well. So it's a very hands-on lab. Get a good look at all the specimens there. We got some animal cells and some plasma membranes. And gosh, what else haven't I covered yet? The class that we're in right now is Bio 112, which is the second part of our general biology class. So if you are looking to transfer to university, this would be the second semester part of biology. And if you're looking to be a science major at a university, this is the class you would take, and then it would transfer to university. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. So that was, like you said, our biology 112 class. So it's a second part of a two-part biology sequence for students who are in the associate in science program. So if you're looking to focus on biology, or maybe like we have a student who's interested in chemistry, you might take biology as some of those electives, because you'll need that when you transfer out for a bachelor's degree in bio or in chemistry. Cool. So our last stop, we're going to go outside and we are going to meet Miss Rumley Smith, and she is with her physics students, and they're going to do a Mentos experiment. So they'll be working outside because it's a little messy. So we're going to hear from them in just a minute. It looks like Mr. Dorsett is en route to go find Miss Rumley Smith. In the meantime, are there any questions that you all have about anything we just saw? All right. I see a tree and sunshine behind Derek, so that means they are outside. They're getting set up. Perfect. Good deal. I don't see any questions yet in the chat box. We are on the home stretch. So we're going to hear from Miss Rumley Smith, and then we're going to chat just a little bit about admissions, and I'll share out that link so you can put your t-shirt size in there for us. Hey, Derek, can you give me a thumbs up? Or
hey, I'm right here. We're getting set up. So
okay.
Just tell everybody, it's for those seniors, it's not too, coming from a director of enrollment, it's not too early to apply. I want everyone, if you're a senior, to go to our website if you haven't already and do steps 1, 2, and 3 for me. We want to get you in. We've got some really good early orientations. And my favorite thing is to get you into orientation prior to you graduating. That way you can just enjoy your summer and be done with everything having to related to school. Just come back in August and we'll see you. Anything to add, Laura? We've got about 2 more minutes.
We need some, so I'm going to share my screen then if we have a little bit of time. I'll go ahead and.
Oh, wait, sorry, excuse me, Laura. We are ready to go.
Okay. That works. Thanks.
All right, so physics is fun. We get to make Mentos explode. Some of you have probably already seen this experiment before, but it's a great experiment called energy conversion. So let's watch some chemical energy get converted into some kinetic energy. All right, and if we would have taken some calculations of that, we could be able to calculate the velocity and power behind that explosion. All right, hope to see you at RCC soon.
Cool, thanks. So that was Miss Rumley Smith, and she teaches physics.
That was great.
Perfect. Good deal. So you got to see a lot of different science classrooms. This is an outside experiment for obvious reasons. We're not doing that inside. Perfect. So I'm going to share my screen next, and we're going to wrap up just a little bit of information. Derek mentioned the application process. So if you have not already applied, now is a great time to go ahead and do that. We also encourage all students to file their FAFSA, so submit your financial aid. After you submit your application, you'll be ready to meet with admissions, myself or Derek or Miss Harmon. And that is just a phone call or a Zoom call, and you tell us a good time. So you'll get to pick a time that works for your schedule. We'll help get you set up for your orientation, which will be on Zoom like we're doing now. And then you'll be ready to start at RCC. So just to show you the website, our application is linked in the top right corner here. So you would click apply. You would apply first for residency. This is a statewide system. You would then complete your RCC application, and then you will schedule your appointment. Can you come in person to admissions? There's a question in our chat box, and what do you need to do? We do have computers set aside, so if you need a computer to complete this process, you're welcome to come and use the computer here in the admissions office to submit your application. That's a great question. We definitely want to help you through that, or if you have questions or need some help, let us know. Great. We saw some classes that were happening on campus in the lab. So just to let you know, looking ahead, the fall of 2021 at RCC, we will have on-campus classes, we'll have online classes. So there's something for everyone, and we'll be able to meet your needs and figure out what's the best step for you. If you are joining us today and you are a high school sophomore or junior, so you're not quite graduating yet, there is a pathway for college transfer classes for high school students. So you could get started now and take some of your classes while you're still in high school. Not only will that help you at RCC, but then you'll have a leg up when you transfer. So there's something for everyone in the session today. And we'll hope that you will come to RCC. And if you have questions in the meantime, please let us know. I'm going to open the floor for additional questions, but I'm also going to go ahead and put the link in the chat box. If you'll fill this form out for us so that we know your t-shirt size, and that way we'll also know how to get that t-shirt to you, whether you want to come get it at the admissions office or pick it up at high school. Just fill that form out for us, please, so that we can communicate with you when your shirt's ready. Awesome. While you're filling that out, are there any additional questions that we can answer for you? Well, I will leave us at that. If you want to hang on the call, I'm going to stop the recording and stop sharing my screen just to wrap things up. But if you have any additional questions, please feel free to either reach out to admissions after if you think of questions later, or if you want to hang on the call for a little bit, you can ask questions now as well. But please don't forget to submit that form so that we can get you your free t-shirt. So there's a form in the chat box. There's a question, where do we fill out the form? So if you click on that link, it'll take you straight to a form. Let me know if the form doesn't work, but it should be a what we call Cognito form. Yeah, cool. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to turn off our recording.